Hey, good morning. Good morning. Tonight, I'll say good evening. Good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution. It is Tuesday, which means tonight we stream live Tuesday night auctions. Happy Tuesday. I'm off schedule a little bit. It's been the last few days have been just off schedule type of days. Staying up late. Today I was up early. Ernie woke me up at 4:30. He pooped and peed. I went back to bed. Like, I'm just going to sleep in again today. I'm like, no. I can't sleep in. I slept in yesterday. I'm going to wake up. And so we did. Took Ernie out. He didn't do anything. Well, I guess you just pooped and peed an hour and a half ago. You're good. He wasn't here. He escaped. I shouldn't say he escaped because I left the door open and he just walked out. If you leave the door open, is it really escaping? I say no. I left the card room door open. I'm all of a sudden I don't hear Ernie, and I'm like, oh shit, I left the door open. And then I decided it's already 7:11 or 7:12. Screw it. He can go tear up the house. He's actually a good boy. When I take a shower, and it doesn't look like I showered this morning, but I actually did. Like, damn, I look disheveled this morning. He's actually, Ernie has learned how to walk down the stairs so he can come to the basement on his own free will now. He doesn't have to whine at the top of the stairs. He actually did that the first time last week before my wife left for Florida. Tommy, my troll Tommy's in the house. Wow, Tommy. My wife had come down to get her suitcase, and she's like, all of a sudden I look behind me and there's Ernie. I'm like, oh, he did it all by himself. But he didn't do it until was it yesterday? Maybe 2 days, maybe it was Sunday. I think Sunday he followed me down. I'm like, all right. So he came downstairs. I just leave him upstairs while I shower. And he came down, but then he just went back upstairs. When I went up, there he was, just hanging out at the top of the stairs. I think he likes hanging out upstairs because he can see out the window. And he can watch the neighbor dogs and bark at them as they walk by. So yeah, so Ernie escaped, but he didn't really escape because I just left the door open. So yeah, we were up early this morning, and yeah. So hey, I sold my case. I sold my case of 2020. Is Andy in here? I don't know if Andy's in here yet. Is that Ernie? Ernie, is that you? Hey, buddy, what's up? What were you doing? Were you chewing on my baseball cards? All right, now you're trash. Ernie's back. All right, so I sold my case of 2022 Chrome Update overnight or late last night. I had it priced at $950. I think I paid $500 for it at Black Friday last year. I was going to rip into it, but then Andy's like, hey, those are still selling for decent money. And I'm like, they're selling for like $850 if you can sell them. Cases don't move fast, although I got a lot of offers on this one, which I was surprised. So I had it for $950 because I'm like, okay, I don't want to list it for $850 and then have a 25% coupon and it sells for like $600. After shipping and all that, it's basically break even. Although at this point, it's nice just to have the cash flow. So I had it listed for $950. Somebody came in and did the discount, took seven items for 25% off, which I was happy with because they ended up buying like $30 worth of cards. It wasn't like they didn't come and buy 6.99 cards. They bought, like a $10 card, a couple $7 cards, $5 card. There you go, Andy. There's Andy. So yeah, so somebody took advantage of the 7 for 25% off. So it was listed at $950. So I think 25% off. That's like $731. I think is the math on that. I actually calculated it. I didn't do that in my head just now. So 731 plus, I sell some other cards on top of that. So I'm happy. I'm happy with that. So I made a nice sales day. Now I've got to figure out if I need to double box it or if it's already double boxed. Now the 2016 Topps Update Mega Box case that I ripped into over the weekend, that was already double boxed. But I've opened boxes before and they haven't been. It's like they just shipped it to me. So I've got to take a look at the outside of the box to make sure I don't want to slice into it. Because ideally, what I would do if it's already double boxed, I slice into it and then just put the rest of their order inside, in a bubble mailer inside, seal it back up, boom, drop it off. UPS has much better prices for that. I shipped off my scanner yesterday. I sold the S Fujitsu Scan Snap is what I sold. And man, shipping prices. Now, shipping prices for like a pound, 2 pounds, 3, 4 pounds, not bad. But when you get up to like 15, 20 pounds, whew, I think the cheapest, Ground Advantage was like $85. And I'm like, oh, this is not good. This is not good. This is not good. But UPS was like 20. I think I paid like $24 UPS. Yeah, so definitely UPS the way to go. I think FedEx was even cheaper, but I'm leery on using FedEx. So hey, stop it. Where's your bone? Chew your bone. He's like, fuck you, I'm not gonna listen. So that was a nice little set. In fact, when Ernie woke me up at 4:30 to go potty, and I grabbed my phone, and then I couldn't get back to sleep. I was wide awake. And then I was happy, like, oh, I sold that case. So thank you, Andy, for popping in and saying, hey, you should list that case. Because I'd rather sell the case than rip into it and get $100 worth of cards, make $700 off of it. So that was good. We had some shitty news yesterday here in Madison. We had a school shooting. That sucks anytime, no matter where it is, but it really hits close to home here. I'm not going to go into it, but it's like I'm desensitized. I saw a news flash on Facebook as I was eating lunch, and like my first thought was like, another school shooting. Like that, honestly, that was my first thought, like, oh shit, another school shooting. Like, and it shouldn't be like that. It should be like, holy shit. And it's not anymore. We're desensitized to it. And they've been happening too often, too much over the last 25 years. So they've identified all that. I don't think they've identified the victims yet, but the shooter is now known. So that sucks. It was at a school. It was at a Christian school on the other side of town on the east side. And it sucks. So enough of that. Let's go into the chat. I want to talk about the bad news Bears. Jesus. Ugh. That was a shit show last night, wasn't it? Where are we at? George is drunk. George, what's up? George is drunk. And good evening to you. Victor's in the house. Happy Tuesday. Steel Cards is here. Good morning. Michael Renicke's in the house. What's happening? Scott Hermanson, good Tuesday morning. David's here. What's happening? Joe Webster, what's up? My thoughts and prayers with your local community. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate that. Kyle says, good morning. How about them Bears? I'm not an expert. In my not expert opinion, I think the Bears management forgot you need an offensive line that can block. Yeah, apparently they forgot about that last offseason. Jesus. How did this team win 4 games? My God. Remember when I said they were going to win 10 games? And I held on to that prediction for a lot longer than I should have. George says, I've been up since 3:50 a.m. and still drunk and kicking at 10:15 p.m. My schedule is officially jacked the F up. Doesn't that suck? That's when your schedule's all jacked up. I think I'm finally getting back, and I shouldn't say fight. It's only Tuesday, but I think Saturday, like just having people over, I like never have people over, and then staying up late, and I decided to have another beer or two, watch Saturday Night Live, and went to bed after midnight, and then so my Sunday, I'm just like lounging around. And then so that affected my Monday schedule yesterday. Although I was I was very productive yesterday. It had to be because I wasn't on Sunday. That's the downside to going into business for yourself. Yeah, you can take a day off. It's going to cost you. And then you got to do twice the work on the following day. Peter's here. Happy Tuesday. Todd says, good morning. Heard the awful news last night. Horrible that we keep having these situations. It is. It's just absolutely terrible. James says, love it. Bears fans are in denial. You can give them the first pick every year. They will kill the vibe of any good player. Bear down. Yep, bear down. Skol Vikings. Is there any working on shipping? Were you shipping, buddy? I hope so. Red Light 34, what's happening? Good morning. Andy says, nice. Someone bought your case. Mark Marinello's in the house. Good morning. Keep that thumbnail up. Keep that thumbnail up all year round. Lacey. Orlando, what's happening? Good morning. George says hi to Orlando. Philly Joe's in the house. Good morning. Kevin's checking in from Lakeland, Florida. What's up? James says UPS is awesome shipping big items. Shipping out west gets expensive. Yeah, shipping out west gets expensive in anything. But yeah, I've actually used UPS a few times now. I actually shipped a smaller item because somebody wanted it, and it was like it wasn't like a $2 card, right? It was like 100 cards, and I think they wanted it for spring training. It was a while back. And they wanted it like fast, and I'm like, I don't trust the USPS. I'm like, and they're like, you can ship it UPS and I'll pay for it. And I'm like, okay. Okay. I mean, it was like a $100 or $150 order. So I'm like, I'll do that. If somebody wants their $1.50 card, even if they're going to pay for UPS shipping, I'm not going to spend because I can't just drop it off the same place I drop off the USPS. I have to drive further away to UPS. I guess you could do local pickup or whatever, but do that. Not for a $1.50 card. George says, got my winter vacation flight booked today. Got an overnight layover in Dallas. So hopefully I can meet Ken or some Dallas folks. Very cool. Very nice. George says, oh man, that does suck. I recently had a suicide at my school. It's always bad. Oof. Yeah. Brian says, Bears get to 5 wins. Come on. Yeah. I don't think either of our predictions are going to. And the Bears have gotten worse. And I don't know if I read, I'm sure I read it somewhere. And it made sense. It's like, how did the Bears get even worse over the last 2 weeks? They had a head coach that was just awful, needed to be fired, and they get worse. Like they're not even in games anymore. And I know it's a small sample size. It's 2 games, but last night against the Vikings, that's a team they took to overtime, should have won, didn't, lost in overtime. And then they get absolutely embarrassed on Monday Night Football. Get blown out a week ago. Hadn't been really blown out at all this season. And now they've been blown out twice. But somebody like wrote it out perfectly. It's like, well, you can't just change up your offensive scheme and your defense midway through the season. Well, you can, and shit like this happens. And I don't think they have changed, made a vast change like that. But they've had 3. They're on their 3rd offensive coordinator this year. 13 games, and they're on their 3rd offensive coordinator. Eberflus was the defensive guy. Now he's gone. So there's everything's in disarray. So I guess it shouldn't be a surprise. And it's just, I hate to see it for Caleb Williams because we saw so much improvement from him game after game earlier in the season. And now over the past 3-4 weeks, I wouldn't say I should say it's a decline. Like it seems like he's actually in decline, and it seems like he's lost confidence, which you don't want. Troy Aikman said it perfectly, and he knows, like, he was a number 1 overall pick that went through a season like this. 0-11 as a starter for the Dallas Cowboys when he was the number 1 overall pick as a rookie. So you hope that Caleb can shake this. And another thing you mentioned, or they mentioned last night on the broadcast, was, this is the time of year that the college football season ends. He's a rookie quarterback, so last year, the last couple of years as a starting quarterback, he's done. Like, his season is over, getting prepared for a bowl game, where now you're rolling out week after week, and you still have 4 games left, 3 games left, 3 or 4 games left, and you're getting walloped and hammered. You still have to go out and do this 3 or 4 more times. Fuck. Mark says the Jets screwed up in reverse. Orlando says, George, let me know when you're coming to Florida. Cody's here. Good morning. Been hunting deals on eBay, stocking up on Jackson Churio. Very nice. Very nice. Actually, the case that I sold, they bought a few Jackson Churios, and I'm like, oh wow, I'm happy that's sold. It's been sitting there for I don't know how long, but it's been sitting there long enough. But I think one of my Wemby rookies that I just picked up over the weekend. So I've done pretty well. Oh, we're tearing apart the toys. Oh. Hey, buddy. No. We found the squeaker has been released. So I think I've sold a couple of the Wembys. I sold a Paul Skeens. I listed the Barry Bonds Peachy rookie last night. Did get a question. I'll actually answer it. Wanting to know about surface scratches and corners, and I hate those questions. So I'm just going to say, hey, I'm not a grader. Here's more pictures. Decide on your own. Andy says Aikman was throwing Caleb under the bus for all the sacks. They were pretty harsh. They were pretty harsh on him. And Caleb is not like, he does have to take some of the blame. Like, the offensive line is absolutely brutal. And he is running for his life, but he does have to make some better decisions. And there were some plays where it's like, dude, now it's easy for me to say, I've never played quarterback in my life, outside of in the backyard playing tackle football with my friends at 10 years old. But it's like, that's we've all watched enough football where it's like, that's not a good decision. So kind of like the Cubs season, like, we've got to place the blame on the players as well. Like, it's not just, we can't just blame the general manager and the manager. Like, you've got to put some blame on the players to perform. And we're throwing the offensive line under the bus, and they do suck, historically bad. But you got to also place some blame on Caleb Williams himself. I think some of it, I shouldn't say a lot, but I think some of it is unwarranted. But there's definitely some, like, he overthrows some targets. But again, like, and I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, I think a lot of those poor throws that Caleb Williams is making is because doesn't have his timing down. And it's almost like there was a point yesterday or last night where he had a bunch of time, and it's like, he's not used to that. He's used to, like, I've got 1 second to find an open man, or I've got to get the hell out of here and scramble. And so it's almost like he doesn't know what to do when he does have that time. And sometimes when he does have that time, he's overthrowing the ball because it's like muscle memory. When you're running for your life and it's like, I've got to get the ball, I've got to get rid of the ball so fast. You're running, and you just zip it. But when you have time and you can stand back in the pocket and your line's actually blocking for you, he's still got that hurry up time. And so it's like he rushes the throw and, he set back the pass. Oh my God, I've got this much time. And he zips it too hard and he overthrows his man. Merle says, what's the worst record of a team that started 4-2? I bet there's a team that started 4-2, and that's a great question. Let's Google it. I wonder if Google knows. What is the worst NFL record for a team that started 4-2? Let's see. I don't know if we're gonna get the easiest answer. I don't know. If somebody can Google that, I'm getting all kinds of different random stats that don't answer our question. But I bet there's a team that has started 4-2 that went, maybe it hasn't happened with the 17, which is only a couple years old now. But in a 16 game schedule, I bet there's a team that finished 4-12, or 4-2, start 4-2 and lost. How many games in a row? 10 games in a row. Where are we at? George says, hopefully someday I miss my yearly Florida vacations on St. George Island up in the Panhandle back in the early 2000s. St. George Island, named after George, after he spent his summers there. Mark says, this thumbnail will be up forever. Thank you. Steve Ains, comedy in the house. What's happening? Good morning. Mark says, it's my Facebook and Instagram profile pic as well. There you go. Let's see. George says, I'm shipping myself west next month. I agree that it gets expensive. Yeah. Even more expensive for George. Troy's in the house. What's happening? Tiger 727. Good morning. Tommy says, funny how the Bears were a Hail Mary from being 5-2. Yeah. And you go back and that's true, that they're 4-2 on the brink of being 5-2. Tyreek Stevenson down in the corner of the end zone, mocking the Guardians, or not Guardians, got all these teams changing names, Commanders fans, Washington fans, Redskins fans. And then Jaden Daniels throws the Hail Mary and the Bears lose. And instead of 5-2, they're 4-3. And then it happened over and over again in just different circumstances, a comedy of errors. Blocked field goals. Blocked field goal to lose against the Packers, I think. And then the following week was not knowing the timeout situation and fucking that up on Thanksgiving Day. Troy says, at this point, might as well lose the rest of the games. That's what I'm hoping for my Patriots. And that's what my good friend Kyle is a diehard Vikings fan. And we have a group chat of some guys we were in well, not really in college. We were kind of in college together. We worked at a college together, I guess, is the proper term. And other friend is also a diehard Bears fan. And so Kyle texted, he's like, Skol, or I think Neil texted first, like getting ready for the Vikings to blow out the Bears. Kyle's like, the Vikings don't blow out anybody. It's not their MO. Like that, and the Bears' MO isn't to get blown out. It's to lose in an amazing fashion. But now they're getting blown out. So, and I said at this point, I'm rooting for competitive losses. And actually now it's like, I don't care. Just get the season over with. But at this point, like you're not playing for anything. If anything, you're playing to lose for a better draft pick. And I think they're fighting the New York Jets, Mark's New York Jets, for the 8th pick. Either the Jets or the Bears have the 8th pick right now. If the season ended today, the Bears and Jets would be 8 and 9. I don't know who holds the tiebreaker, but they're both 4 and 10 now, 4 and 9, whatever the hell the record is. So now we're just trying to compete with the Patriots and who else? The Panthers and the Giants, teams ahead of us. George says, if you're going to lose, be the best at it. There you go. Scott says, way back in June, I checked into the Chad and mentioned I was in the hospital. The results of that, I had to have my right foot and leg amputated due to diabetes. I get my new leg this afternoon. Holy shit. I'm sorry to hear that. Best of luck. I'm glad you're getting a new leg this afternoon. Well wishes. Best of luck today. Johnny M says, morning, mailings, post office, grocery shopping done. I took yesterday off to hang with a buddy. Very nice. Very nice. I'm a little jealous. It's 7:40, although I think you're on the East Coast, so it's 8:40 there. I'm just getting my day started. George says, the best loser is more memorable than the average winner. That's true. That is true. Orlando says the post office lost $6.5 billion last year. Billion with a B. They're talking about privatizing it. Yeah. Mark says that 89 Cowboy team was brutal. They were happy Aikman stayed in one piece. And that's where we're at with Caleb Williams. Like, God, just don't break him mentally and physically. Tracy, good morning. 4 days until Christmas break. Their teachers are the countdown. It's not just the kids, not just the students that have those countdowns. The teachers have those countdowns too. And then, like here, in the working world, if you're not in school, it's just like, yeah, it's just another. I guess if you're at the office, you're counting down until your days off, or whatever it works. That dude from Duryea says, what's up, guys? Vintage auctions were slow, but junk wax auctions exceeded my expectations. There are always surprises. There are. And that's something that I've loved about auctions. I don't love the slowness of some, but I do like some of the happy little surprises. I don't think last night I had any. I had the window open already. I don't think I had any auctions last night that ended higher than I expected. Maybe I did. Let me check. What I've noticed is there's kind of a changing of the guard in terms of eBay auctions, where there's a lot of I think this is the right tab. There's a lot of bidding before auctions are ending. Like, there used to be like a lot of snipes at the end. I don't get a lot of snipes. A very small percentage of my auctions that ending auctions are getting sniped in the last minute. A lot of it, the bidding is up, in the days heading into it. So I sold some Maguires and Canseco's. These went for higher than I expected. These are cards that I'm like, I kind of hope they sell for 99 cents. So to sell them for $1.25 and $1.50 for the 89 upper decks, like I was thrilled with those results. The Donruss Originals, I thought those might go for a little more, like in the $1.50 range. Let's see. I was really surprised the Clemente and Bo Jackson roll call inserts went for $3. And those were at $3 yesterday morning when I previewed. So no last minute bids. So 99 cents on these. I thought the Maguire commemorative reprint, I thought that might go for a little more than 99 cents. Xander Bogaerts rookie went for $2. Let's see. Not really any surprises. The Sparky Anderson 73 went for $3. Was a little surprised that went for $3. Those are buy it nows. That's a buy it now. The Jackson Holidays went for $2.50 and $3, which is, it's like, okay. I think that's kind of where I thought they would settle at auction. I can get higher prices at buy it now, which I can get higher prices at buy it now for most items. But there are surprises, and I like those surprises. We'll see what we have surprises in store tonight. Don't forget tonight. Let me flash that banner too. 99centcards.com. Tonight, eBay Auctions Live. I'll stream starting at about 7 p.m. Central. We'll count down the auctions. I've got a really fun auction tonight ending 100 unopened packs. Baseball, a lot of non-sports, football, hockey. I've got some 80s non-sport packs, even some 70s non-sport packs. I think there's Battlestar Galactica. There's a couple others from the late 70s. So check that auction out. Ends tonight, and we'll stream starting at 7 p.m. Max says, I watched Caleb for 2 plays last night. Let's just say he looked better than Sam Howell did the previous night. Caleb deserves plenty of the blame, but maybe 40 to 50%. The line is porous. Yeah. I don't know if he deserves 50% of the blame, but he definitely deserves maybe 25%, in my opinion. Now, if you haven't watched much of him before last night, you probably have a different opinion. I've watched him throughout the year. He has regressed. His play has gotten worse. He made early on in the season, he was obviously making rookie mistakes like all rookies do at this level. But then he was improving every game. And it's like we had flashes. And then we haven't seen many of those flashes in the last couple of weeks, which scares me a little bit. Like, is he not up for it mentally, which is a concern. Max says 4-12 for sure. I'm sure. Merle says they can go 4-13. Max says likely to be plenty over the course of history just because there are so many iterations. Absolutely. The Bears are who we thought they were. Absolutely. Mark says Jets have Rams, Bills, and Dolphins left. There is hope for a higher draft pick. George says, Max, I showed some Korean pocket monsters during the Christmas party. I'm disappointed that you were too busy to participate. Little pocket monsters. Max says they've been talking about privatizing the USPS forever. If it makes it run better, let's get it done. Absolutely. I'm on board. Mark is here. What's up? Good morning. Vintage commons have been slow the past few weeks. Lower graded vintage stars are moving. Yeah, it's kind of weird. And vintage sells year round, but it's weird how there's pockets of better sales, worse sales. I've run a lot of vintage auctions here over the last couple of weeks and kind of disappointing overall. I'm glad they sold. Even at 99 cents, I'm making money on because the buy-in was so low on some of those, on pretty much all of them. So I have noticed that at least in my auctions. Buy it nows, I haven't been moving as much of the vintage, but I haven't added much either. So that could certainly be the case. Max says, George didn't get home until 9:30. Wish I could have made it too. Unfortunately, scheduling on a major show day for me was a no-go. But isn't every weekend a major show day? Like in reality, like there's a show every weekend. So kind of hard to avoid. I know Uncle Rich says that there was like some event. It's like it's kind of like running a card show. It's like what is the perfect week? There is no perfect weekend. There's going to be competition. And, it's like, well, and a lot of people don't realize that. And then especially when you're here locally in Wisconsin, Madison, you're going up against Badger football games, which I thought would be more competition than what they actually are. Yeah, I'm sure it takes some people away from the show. But it's like, you look at the football schedule, there might be 1 or 2 home games on Saturdays in the month of September, October, and November. And then you've got other shows to compete with. It's like, well, when do you schedule a show? Well, how come you're scheduling on the Badger football game? And then if you schedule away from, well, how come you're scheduling the same day as Oak Creek or Green Bay? It's like, you can't please them all. So you just got to do what you got to do. Pokemon is disgusting, though. Didn't you hear, George? George says, completely understand that. I was too hungover to do my traditional morning drinking for the party. Andy Mack says, the post office delivers to every address every day. Private carriers don't do that because it isn't profitable. Brian says, why would privatizing the post office make it better? Tell me like I'm 5 because I don't see it helping anything other than driving cost up. It's a service, not supposed to be a biz. George says, I haven't heard, but I may have been too drunk to hear. Sports card ripping teacher got sniped on the Jordan Love because I was watching the Packer game. It probably would have gone for 20 if it was on during the Bear game. What's your prediction for the 2025 Chicago Bears record? I'm done predicting. I am done predicting. Max says it's the NFL. He's a quarterback. They get plenty of praise. They can shoulder the blame as well. Guessing he wishes he would have stood by his words, not going to the city dump. Dave Arnold's here. Semester test week at BPC. Fun times. Unicorn Cupcake says, usually guys with painted nails are mentally solid. There's a lot of mentally tough. Does that mean women are not mentally tough because they paint their nails? Max says, no for me. Major shows, Madison, Green Bay, KI, Janesville. Other shows aren't major shows I do. So I'm trying to think. So last week was KI, Janesville. Janesville was last week. This Saturday, I don't think there's a major show. I guess KI is not every month, though. Janesville's not every month. So George says the only competition in Korea is of how many units of alcohol you had the night before. Sports card ripping teacher, what is your 2025 Cubs prediction? Not enough information to make any baseball predictions. Right now, I would say if I had to predict right now, if the roster stayed as it is right now, I would say they'd be 85 wins. Oops, that was your foot, not the toy. I would say 85 wins as the roster is constructed right now. But honestly, I don't see any of the moves the Cubs make. I can't see an 85 is probably shooting too high. But they won 83 games. They add Kyle Tucker, which is a big plus. You know, he's a 5 to 8 WAR player. And so it just all depends. Like, are they going to trade Bellinger? If they trade Bellinger and don't make any real corresponding moves, it's kind of a net negative. Even though I'm not too high on Cody Bellinger, I think a lot of fans are hoping that he performs like 2023 Cody Bellinger, but I have a feeling he's closer to performance of a 2024 Cody Bellinger. Third base right now is open, which is a big question mark. Are they going to make a move via trade? There's really no free agents on the market in the Cubs sphere. Alex Bregman is not going to, the Cubs are not going to sign Alex Bregman. And then your next best third baseman on the market is Josh Rojas. And I'd rather just go with a rookie, try Matt Shaw at third base, or I'd probably rather have Matt Shaw at third base than move Michael Busch from first to third. Busch hasn't played much third base, and when he has, it's been atrocious when he was with the Dodgers. Starting a rookie at third base, which is not, and I guess he has, like, from college through the minor leagues, third base, he really hasn't had a primary position. He was mainly a shortstop in his amateur career into his professional career. He actually played a lot of shortstop early on in the Cubs system. So I guess if any, he played the most shortstop, and then third base and second base between college and minor leagues was about equal. He's been playing more third base recently. And I think that's probably because they see, they could have a hole there and fill that hole with Matt Shaw. I think long-term, he's probably more of a second baseman. He's a minus glove defensively, especially at third base, more so than second. And he's not a big power guy. Now, it doesn't really, if you have other power guys in your lineup, you can punt third base. Third base is usually one of your positions of power for a power hitter. But if you can fill other positions with power hitters, isn't really necessary. Right now, the Cubs don't have too many power hitters in that lineup. I think long-term, he's probably going to fill out as a second baseman, and that's kind of where I thought, they're going to trade Nico Horner, and then they can slot Shaw in at second base, and then Paredes will be third base, and then they trade Paredes. It's like, maybe Shaw. And they did draft Gage Workman in the Rule 5 draft in the major league phase. He hasn't played above Double-A, but Double-A, he had really good numbers in Double-A. In Double-A is, I'd rather see big numbers at Double-A than I would at Triple-A, because Triple-A is kind of your journeyman, organizational guys that have, been through, where Double-A, you've got a lot of your top prospects, the guys that, a lot of guys made jumps from Double-A to the majors. So, I think Gage Workman will definitely be a guy that's going to be in competition, either for third base or a bench spot. I don't think the Cubs are done at third base in the offseason. I think, via trade, they're probably looking at options, because I don't like the fact that there's a competition for the third base spot between Miles Mastrobuoni, Gage Workman, and Matt Shaw. Obviously I think Matt Shaw is probably the best option there. And then either Gage Workman or Miles Mastrobuoni is going to be your bench utility guy. So there's a lot going on, and will continue going on. The Jesus Luzardo trade talks really heating up. Bellinger talks are still hot. So I think the roster, the 40-man roster, the active roster we won't know until the end of March, or I guess the middle of March. But there's going to be a lot of changes. I think 85, I said 85 at first. I think that's probably a little high. I'd probably just stick to 83, 84. Because I think most players in the lineup last year underperformed. And hopefully we don't see that again. But you're also going to have regression as well. Shota is not going to have, I predict Shota will not have the year pitching that he had last year, this past season. So you're going to see some regression by players. You're going to see, I still don't know who Cody Bellinger is. Is he last year's version, the 2024 version? Is he the comeback player of 2023 version? I don't know who is the real Cody Bellinger. Terry's here. Good morning. What's up, Terry? George says, are you riding a bucking bull while running the street? It looks like it. It looks like it. Hee-haw. George says, or are you playing with the doggy? Ernie, come here, buddy. Playing with Ernie. Max says, privatizing USPS positive #1. It not being a fucking government agency. Amen. Max says, go with Shaw. Orlando says, modernizing and making it more efficient. Sports card ripping teacher says, start Shaw. I say keep Cody unless it's a huge return. It won't be. It won't be. Be prepared if the Cubs trade Cody Bellinger. Be prepared for disappointment, because you're going to get back a Will Wagner type. I think that's Will Warren, I think is his name. It's, the Cubs in dealing Bellinger is to get some of that salary back. So they can play, so they don't have $32 million tied up in Cody Bellinger for 2025. I think it's 32.5. It's 27.5 million plus the 5 million. So 32.5 million on Bellinger. You recoup some of that money. Hoping the trading team takes on a majority of that contract, and then you get a small return. Now, the return will be high based on the money. The return will be higher or lower. The Cubs want this essentially to be a salary dump, so they can use that money on a starting pitcher via trade or free agent. I don't think there's going to be another free agent starting pitcher that they sign. But, if they sign a Jesus Luzardo or a Luis Castillo through trade, they have some extra money opened up from having the Bellinger money off the books. It's really shitty that the Cubs are in the financial situation they're in based on like luxury tax, because there are penalties when many of these teams have the ability to spend ungodly amounts like the LA Dodgers and New York Mets. Most teams tiptoe that luxury tax threshold because there are penalties which can hurt you long term. Penalties like losing international free agency money. I think the penalty for whatever threshold it is $1 million off your international free agency money, which your pool is around $5 million. You've got a guy like Roki Sasaki coming in. You want to have every dime of that international free agency money to try to lure him in. You could lose draft picks and all that. So you don't want to go over that threshold. But I was looking at contracts last year and what the Cubs had tied up in money in 2024. Trey Mancini, Eric Hosmer, Hector Neris, Yan Gomes. Like, that was, how much money was that? That was like $30 million, I think, between those four players. That was like $30 million of money on the books for those players. Now, fortunately, that comes off. Most of those guys comes off. I think all of those are off the books for 2025. But that puts you at a disadvantage when trying to get other talent. Sports card ripping teacher waves hello to Orlando. That dude says, watch third base Alec Bohm. Is it Bohm or Bomb? The Phillies seem to want to move on. I've seen some trade talks, and I haven't heard or read any like rumors of Bohm to the Cubs. I've seen a lot of like Cubs bloggers come up with trade scenarios with the Phillies, dumping Bellinger, trying to get Bohm, and then I think there's been some wild trade. It's like, this isn't going to happen. This is not realistic. Dystemics here. What's up? Good morning. Brian says, yes, point number one, FedEx and UPS have shown how to deliver packages and mail without issue. George says, when everything becomes an NFT, we won't need mail. There you go. I like it. Playing the long game. Those four guys were crooks, but not was the Cubs giving them that dough. But that was the Cubs. Absolutely. Yeah, the blame, I'm not placing any blame on those guys. The Cubs gave them that money, and it was not good. Not, Hoyer made poor financial decisions in signing players. George says, YouTube chat is going wild. Just repeating, LOL. Dystemic. What's up, buddy? Dystemic says, T-minus 61 hours and counting till my flight leaves. Hey, there you go. We got countdowns. There you go. Sun is shining. Hey, the sun, that yellow ball in the sky. Haven't seen that in a while. When was the last time? When was the last time we saw the sun, buddy? Friday? Thursday? All right, I'm out of water. I need coffee. Orlando says, don't forget Amazon delivery service. Yeah, Amazon is really good. Amazon is good. All righty. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. We'll do this again in 11 hours. We'll watch the eBay auctions. Let's just quickly preview what's coming up for bid. Where's my shit? Where's my shit? Shit. All right. Trying to show you my auctions. All right. Auctions. Ending soonest. Now we can bop that up. All right. So these are some of the auctions. Get your bids in. We've got a 74 Dan Deerdorf without a bid. I've got a bunch of Tom Brady's. Apparently I have Tom Brady cards just coming out of every orifice. Tom Brady's. So a lot of Tom Brady, earlier Tom Brady's, 2003, 2004, 2002. So a lot of early Tom Brady Patriots cards. Peyton Manning, a Brady numbered out of 625 scorecard from 2004. Bunch of Tom Brady's. Revis Island rookie card from 2007 Topps. Chase Kaufman autograph. 89 score Derek Thomas rookie. Gene Upshaw Wonder Bread. Got a Reese Hoskins serial number die cut out of 49. Rob Deerdeck. 89 score Rod Woodson rookie without a bid. Wow. Some more 89 score without bids. How about this 89 score football with no bids? A little surprising. Jim McMahon, my hero growing up. The Boz. I've got a bunch of Jordans. Ooh, that's up to $550. I've got some Jordan. There you go. John Wall rookie card. No bids on the John Wall rookie. Dwayne Wade rookie's only at 99 cents. This is a card that sold for like $6 or $7 in a previous auction. Sabrina Ionescu Goodwin Champions. This card here, number 42, that sold for $9 at a previous auction that I ran. Not even a bid yet with 11 hours left. Some first Bowman Chrome, Spencer Steer and Brett Beatty. Roger Maris, oddball card from 1990. Adolis Garcia, first Chrome. Some hockey. Young Guns Cole Lind. Artemi Panarin Scoring Kings. Got some Mickey Mantle home run cards. These did really well at auction last week or 2 weeks ago. We'll see if they do okay this time. Not doing too well. We got a Yas baseball scratch off. Santa Claus. This is the Spanish version from 1991 Pro Set. We've got a slab of CD Lamb, a BCCG 10, a PSA 10 Darius Baisley rookie card from Prism. I paid $40 for that card at the National in 2021. That was about the height of the COVID boom. It's probably going to sell for $3.50. We've got an Aaron Hernandez rookie card, Bobby Witt Jr. rookie, Pete Alonso serial number to 99. We've got Sam Vincent with Jordan wearing the number 12 jersey in the foreground. A couple more Young Guns. Marco Rossi up to $5. We got the Travis Kelce rookie at $9.51. Let's see. And then here's our unopened packs. 100 of them. There's an 88 Fleer rack pack in there. There's some 88 top stickers, 90 Donruss, the 83 Donruss fun pack. I think there's golf cards in there. Battlestar Galactica, Little Shop of Horrors. There's, I think, an opening day from a few years ago from like 2016, some hockey packs. So 100 packs, 100 unopened packs dating back to the late 70s all the way up until the 2000 teens. So it's currently at $44. Babe Ruth, one of those. Trey Lance rookie relic. Let's see. That's the last one that ends tonight. So there you go. Get the bids in, 99centcards.com. We'll stream live starting at 7 p.m. tonight. Last couple things from Max. He says, no service will ever be perfect. Humans will always mess stuff up, especially with a service as large as this. Have minions and workers who don't care about the whole company. That is very true. 6.5 billion lost. Hopefully that gets cleaned up. Otherwise, it will always keep getting more expensive, more efficiency, easier to make decisions, hopefully more quality employees. We'll see. I am not optimistic about that. Plenty more. Just read the other side wants to be fully informed on the situation. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, visit my eBay store, 99centcards.com. Check out the latest buy it now offerings. Buy 7 or more and get 25% off at checkout. Did add some more buy it now cards last night. I'll be adding some more probably tonight after the eBay auctions live. And make sure to get those bids in at 99centcards.com. I'll be streaming live at 7 p.m. Central. Thank you, Scott. We will see you tonight. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you at 7 tonight.